Good day, everyone. My name is Jessica Davis, also known as Brew, and today I'll be talking to you about the service learning requirements for high school graduation. Now, I feel like this is a bit sensitive of a topic because right now we have all this uncertainty with what's going to happen in the next couple of months with the pandemic going on and how there were high school seniors who needed to graduate this year. Same thing goes for our college seniors who are on the road to graduation. And so back to high schoolers, if they didn't complete their service learning requirements, are they still going to get their diploma? Something I have yet to ask the superintendent. I feel like that's not a high area of concern for him right now, but definitely something to look forward to ask. Okay, so let's get started. My objectives today are to leave you with hopefully a better understanding of service learning, why it is necessary for high school graduation, who can participate in service learning, what qualifies as service learning, resources to access service learning, and more. And while you're in this session with me, I hope you have a pleasant time. Okay? So what is service learning? Service learning is learning that actively involves students in a wide range of experiences. So I have this cute picture here. This heart that encompasses a bunch of words to describe service learning. So it deals with education, volunteering, justice, health, children, animals, environment. What I hoped would be a little bit bigger is community. Because when we hear the word service learning, we often think of community service, or at least I do. All right. So, why is it necessary? Because it's the law. Public Law 28-41 recognizes the importance of service learning and has mandated it as a requirement for all high school students. Students are required to have earned 75 hours of service learning in order to graduate. Now, the next couple of slides are going to be the bill that was passed to go into law. So hopefully you can see all of this here. I'm not expecting you to read all of it before I get to the next slide, but just to point things out, it was signed in It was signed June 6th of 2005, and it was known to be cited as the Service Learning Act of 2005. And so its purpose was to allow each student to gain knowledge of the community's needs to expand learning beyond the four walls of the classroom, to provide opportunities for lifelong intellectual and personal growth, and to feel the intrinsic rewards associated with giving back to the society. And so, in my own words, it's community service based off this service learning. And beyond the four walls of the classroom, I feel like that's referring to doing things outside of your class that can also help you in the future. So, for example, a way of community service might be feeding the hungry. Now, it's one thing to go and volunteer and just hand out the food that's there, but a ProStart class might use this opportunity to have the students actually prepare the food that they're giving out. And so it's just a way to show them how their skills or the things that they're developing right now can move forward with them. So GDOE adopted this in 2005, and it's for high schoolers. Now, it can start as early as kindergarten. I'm sure there's teachers that have parent volunteers and bring their children to different activities where they can experience service learning, but it isn't until the 9th grade, it's 12th grade, that it's an actual requirement, and that's where they have the 75 hours kick in. They have the 4 years to work up to this. And so this is more of the bill, just continuing on the points. When I was in high school, not too long ago, because I'm still fairly young, but it wasn't a requirement for my graduation. Now, who can participate in service learning? Service learning specifically refers to our students. However, community service is for anyone who's willing to help. And so let's reflect. What are some ways you may have performed service learning or community service? Now, as I mentioned previously in a couple of slides ago, 3 slides ago, I did community service. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as service learning because it wasn't required for graduation, but I was a part of the Principals Leadership Society and the National Honor Society in high school, and so we were required hours. Same goes for my US government class. My teacher made it a requirement that we get at least 5 hours a quarter. So 10 hours a semester, took me 20 hours total to graduate. And this was based off of, requirements for the class, not for all seniors in general. So if they didn't take US history their senior year, then they didn't have the same requirement that I did. Now I have been checking around with a lot of my other classmates. Now, this was signed into law in June 2005, and then it was to start August 2006. And I'm still trying to figure out why it wasn't a requirement for me if I graduated in 2011. Now, I started asking around just to make sure that it didn't go over my head. So I asked my classmates, I asked people who were in my class but at different schools if it was required for them, and it wasn't. So it wasn't just me, and that's already the graduating class of 2011. And in 2006, I would have been an 8th grader. So I had plenty of time to rack up those 75 hours, but I'm just going to go with there was a lack of training and for teachers to further implement how they were going to conduct their community service or service training. So my graduating class didn't do it, but 2012 graduates right after me had the requirement. And so maybe that's something that just went on at my school. I didn't get to touch base with every other high school, but 2015 graduates at GW and 2016 graduates at UCRU also had this requirement. So I see that it's in process and has moved along since I graduated. Sorry for rambling. So the types of community service or service learning that I did for my classes was helping out during home games at the school, as well as away games, selling, charging at the door. I learned how to run the ball for games, like being ball girl. And then eventually I moved myself up to taking score and learning how to officiate a game properly. Never had to ref or anything like that because IIAAG has that to themselves. Now, granted, I am in the physical education field. That's a great way of service learning for me, but for someone who isn't that interested in it, I'm pretty sure they'd want the different options. So let's look at those options. So what qualifies? Social justice, peace and kindness, emergency preparation and response, environment and sustainability, history and culture, senior citizens, military and veterans, education and literacy, citizenship and civic engagement, health and wellness, homelessness and poverty, and animal welfare. That's an awfully long list, so there must be lots of things to do. So ideas for your students. Hopefully when I move this box, it also moves for you. Now, ideas for your students would be, they could go to Island Girl Power and plant in the garden or reach out and read. We have mentors, after school programs, thrift store volunteers, Pro Start cooking classes, and nutrition classes at Island Girl Power. So Island Girl Power is a pretty big name here because they're like the spot for community service, and I'm pretty sure they're glad to take in any volunteers. And so whether it's for the goodness of yourself and wanting to do it, or as a service learning project, Island Girl Power is definitely one of those big names. Adopt a Wall park beautification, that varies from village to village. I know that the village mayors take volunteers and they sign off on things for high schoolers like that, as well as there's a lot more programs just like listed in the last slide. But these pictures right here, I pulled off of the website. Yes, Guam has our very own Guam Service Learning website. And I'll leave the link at the end and you can email me if you want it. So now I want to know, what would you assign for your students? Think about the subject that you plan on teaching in your secondary school. What would be a good service learning project? You can think about it a little bit now, but I'll have it in the activities part later. And so my credit and sources go to the Guam legislature. That's where I got the visuals of the bill, as well as guamservicelearning.com, where you can find projects. Now this site, actually want to show you the site. This site is so awesome. You go into the search bar. Let's go right to that. Alrighty, so here we are at guamservicelearning.com. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Thanks, Theodore Roosevelt. Oh, there's 17 other people checking out the website right now, right on. 11 open projects. So I like how you could type in a couple of things here. I had health and wellness listed last time while I was exploring the site. All of the projects in this website are approved. And just such an encouraging site to look at. Like, this is cool. If I had something like this while I was in high school, even now, as a teacher, I totally use this resource. Now, we can go ahead and just practice find a project here so you can see a little bit more. So there's open projects, a bit the same from what I showed you earlier. Now they have the categories that were listed, and you can go through, check any one of these, and do your search, which is something for you to look at on your own time. Okay? And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening and learning with me. Until we meet again, hopefully sooner than later and this pandemic washes away. If you have any questions or need any help with the activity, you can contact me through Moodle messages, or my email is listed down below. And thank you. Stay safe. Wash your hands.